Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Uh, a very warm welcome to all joining us for the third IOI Alumni CPD of 2025, which is titled Governance for Resilience, Showcasing Nature-Based Solutions in Ocean and Climate Policy. As many of you know, the International Ocean Institute has, for over 50 years, worked to strengthen ocean governance through education and capacity development. Our global alumni network now includes thousands of professionals and decision makers, and this continuing professional development series was basically created to keep that community connected. We offer a space here to exchange new knowledge, highlight emerging trends, and share practical experience in ocean management from experts in the field, like the experts you will be seeing today. As you know, today's theme focuses on nature-based solutions, or NBS, one of the most promising approaches to enhance coastal resilience and ultimately ocean health. We will explore how ecosystems like mangroves and seagrasses can act as natural defenses against climate impacts, while also supporting biodiversity, blue carbon goals, and, of course, livelihoods of coastal communities. We'll hear first from Joseph Flynn, who will provide a global overview of the state of NBS and their integration into governance and policy frameworks, followed by Alessio Magone, who will take us to the Mediterranean to look at seagrass restoration efforts. And after that, we'll move into what I think is a very, very rich set of perspectives on mangrove restoration. We have some amazing speakers from Norway, Guatemala, Kenya, and India, and each will bring a unique regional experience on how science, community engagement, and innovation come together to make NBS work in practice. At the end, we're going to open the floor for discussion and questions, and we will connect these insights back to the broader goals of ocean governance, climate adaptation, and the Sustainable Development Goals. So with that, thank you all for being here. I know some of you are at very extreme hours, and we really, really appreciate you joining us here today. So let's begin. Our first speaker today is Joseph Flynn, who is the founder of OCEAN, a UN Ocean Decade endorsed project, and his Action 10.7 towards advancing open science, ocean climate literacy, and regenerative blue economy innovation. His work bridges ocean literacy, policy, and implementation by combining open educational resources with AI-assisted knowledge tools, open science publication, and transparent funding models. Joseph collaborates with ECOP networks and partners all across Europe to connect NBS, marine spatial planning, and digital MRV for coastline resilience. A lot more things to be said about the work Joseph is doing, but I think I'm gonna give him the floor right now, and he will introduce a little bit what is NBS and give us an overview of the global state of the art of this topic. Thank you, everyone. Joseph, you may begin.
Okay, I'll just share my screen and start the presentation. So, hi everyone, good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are. And thank you to the International Ocean Institute for the invitation. My name is Joseph Flynn. I'm the founder of OCEAN, an online platform that I'm developing, which is endorsed by the UN Ocean Decade under the Early Career Ocean Professionals Program. In today's webinar, Governance for Resilience, we're looking at the state of the art in nature-based solutions, where we've moved from beyond theory into real policy, finance, and implementation In the next 15 minutes, I'll share highlights on how NBS are reshaping ocean and climate governance across regions from Scotland, Indonesia, and Oman, plus a glimpse of how digital innovation through the Ozone platform will help to connect science, policy, and community action through new open education and funding models. So, the term nature-based solutions was defined by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, the IUCN, in 2016. Their actions to protect, restore, and sustainably manage ecosystems to address societal challenges like climate change, while simultaneously benefiting people and biodiversity. So now it's worth framing how fast the field has evolved. In less than a decade, we've moved from concept to policy deployment. More than 190 countries now reference NBS in their climate or biodiversity strategies. The focus has shifted from definitions to delivery, being from what nature-based solutions means to how they are governed, financed, and monitored within national ocean and climate frameworks. And that's what we'll be exploring today. With the current state of the art, where nature-based solutions are being implemented at scale, what policies are driving them, and how science and technology is supporting decision-making. When we say state of the art, we mean a synthesis of where the field stands today, with the most advanced science, policy instruments, and governance practices shaping nature-based solutions implementation. On the scientific side, we're seeing breakthroughs in blue carbon measurement, reporting and verification, and in hybrid coastal infrastructure by combining engineered barriers with living systems like reefs or mangroves. On the policy front, NBS are being institutionalized. The EU Nature Restoration Law sets binding marine restoration targets. Article 7 of the Paris Agreement embeds ecosystem-based adaptation in global climate commitments. The ASEAN Blue Economy Framework links NBS to marine spatial planning and sustainable finance. Across the world, initiatives like Building with Nature in Indonesia, the Seychelles Blue Bond, and research programs at SAMS in Scotland are demonstrating how nature-based solutions can be scientifically validated, economically viable, and socially inclusive. But frontier challenges remain, aligning governance across sectors, ensuring financial integrity, and avoiding greenwashing. This is the reality of the field in 2025, dynamic, data-driven, and increasingly embedded in policy. Onto blue carbon and marine innovation in Scotland. So Scotland is one of Europe's most advanced examples of nature-based solutions embedded in policy. I was just there actually last week for a training on restorative aquaculture. The Scottish Association for Marine Science, or SAMS, leads the Blue Carbon Forum, which is a network connecting scientists, policymakers, and coastal managers to quantify and manage marine carbon sinks. Their mapping of seagrasses, kelp, and salt marsh carbon stocks now feeds directly into Scotland's national climate reporting and adaptation planning. Through partnerships such as the Marine Climate Change Impacts Partnership, SAMS co-produces evidence that shapes Scotland's Blue Economy Vision 2030 and climate change plan. Practical initiatives like Restore for Climate and Seagrass Ocean Rescue Scotland combine restoration with community science by training divers, school groups, and local councils. The key takeaway is that when research institutions and government policy frameworks are fully aligned, nature-based solutions move from pilot projects to national infrastructure for ocean climate resilience. Indonesia's Building with Nature program in Denmark Regency is widely recognized as one of the world's most successful examples of hybrid nature-based solutions engineering. Here, coastal communities, NGOs, and government agencies combined mangrove restoration with permeable bamboo dams to trap sediment naturally. The result is over 600 hectares of mangroves restored, a 60% reduction in flood damage, and new livelihood opportunities for more than 70,000 people. What makes this state of the art is not just the engineering, it's actually the governance model. We shared ownership between national ministries, local cooperatives, and NGOs like Wetlands International and EcoShape. The project has now been scaled into Indonesia's National Coastal Protection Plan, showing that nature-based solutions can move from demonstrations to national infrastructure when they're embedded in cross-sector policy. This model, by integrating engineering, ecology, and community governance, is precisely what we mean by nature-based solutions for resilience. The Seychelles Blue Bond demonstrates how financial innovation can directly enable nature-based solutions and governance reform. Launched in 2018 as the world's first sovereign blue bond, this $15 million instrument was supported by the World Bank, the Global Environment Facility, and the Nature Conservancy. It funded marine protected areas, coral reef restoration, and sustainable fisheries. The bond was coupled with the Seychelles Marine Spatial Plan, which has now placed 30% of the country's exclusive economic zone, which is over 400,000 square kilometers in size, under formal management. So what makes this project a global benchmark is how it links finance to governance by ensuring measurable outcomes are matched with local stewardship and ecosystem-based management. It shows that when fiscal policy, marine science, and nature-based solutions implementation converge, we can build economically viable pathways to ocean resilience. In the Gulf region, Oman and the United Arab Emirates are leading a quiet but powerful shift toward embedding nature-based solutions within national climate and development frameworks. In Oman, the Blue Futures program links mangrove restoration with ecotourism, while Community Blue Ventures project in Musandam trains youth and women to lead blue tourism cooperatives, thereby aligning community livelihoods with ecosystem restoration. The UAE Blue Carbon Initiative is another regional milestone, deploying drones and satellite imagery to monitor seagrass and mangrove carbon stocks, creating some of the world's most advanced blue carbon MRV datasets. Through its Vision 2040, Oman now recognizes nature-based solutions as part of its national climate adaptation infrastructure. These efforts show how nature-based solutions can serve as both a resilience strategy and a social development tool, balancing ecosystem protection with inclusive economic growth. So across regions where we're witnessing a structural shift, nature-based solutions are moving from environmental projects to governance mechanisms embedded in national and regional policy. The backbone of this transformation is marine spatial planning. And under the EU MSP directive and ASEAN Blue Economy framework, nature-based solutions are now explicitly mapped into coastal and marine zoning plans, guiding restoration priorities and investment. Financing is also evolving. Blue bonds, blended finance, and blue carbon credits are turning ecosystems into investable assets. This allows countries to fund restoration while meeting climate commitments. And on the legal front, the EU Nature Restoration Law establishes binding marine restoration targets, while the Paris Agreement's Article 7 anchors ecosystem-based adaptation in international climate governance. Institutional innovation is key. Many countries now have NBS task forces connecting ministries of environment, finance, and infrastructure to streamline decision-making. The principle guiding this evolution is simple yet transformative. Treat ecosystems as national infrastructure assets, as they're fundamental to resilience, not peripheral to it. Despite their clear momentum, several frontier challenges remain in bringing nature-based solutions to full scale. First is measurement. We still lack standardized systems for monitoring, reporting, and verification, particularly for blue carbon and ecosystem service accounting. Second is financing. Most NBS projects struggle to meet the criteria investors require for long-term returns, which limits private sector participation. Third, governance. Cross-ministerial coordination remains weak as environment, finance, and infrastructure agencies often operate in silos. Fourth, inclusivity. The contributions of Indigenous peoples, women, and local communities are often underrepresented in policy design, even though they are essential for success. And finally, integrity. The rise of nature-based solutions has also brought greenwashing risks. Therefore, projects must prove to be genuine, with measurable ecosystem outcomes. These are the gaps that the next generation of NBS policy and innovation needs to close, including through better digital governance and open science and data tools, like those we're developing with the Ozone platform. To close many of the governance and measurement gaps, as we've just discussed, our UN Ocean Decade project, Ozone, is building a regenerative digital ecosystem for ocean innovation and governance. The idea is simple but potentially transformative: to create an open digital commons where scientists, policymakers, and local communities can collaborate on nature-based solutions. Using AI-powered tools, Ozone synthesizes research on blue carbon, biodiversity, and restoration, translating complex science into actionable insights. We're also designing tokenized impact tracking and decentralized funding mechanisms to improve transparency on how nature-based solution projects are financed and verified. Through our learn-to-earn education model and open science article publishing tools, we equip early career ocean professionals with the digital skills needed to apply nature-based solution principles in real projects. So in summary, Ozone connects science, finance, and community action. This aligns with the International Ocean Institute's mission to strengthen capacity, ethics, and ocean literacy under the UN Ocean Decade for Early Career Ocean Professionals. The nature-based solutions agenda has matured from project-level experiments into mainstream governance instruments, shaping how nations plan, invest, and adapt. The defining feature of this new phase is integration. Importantly, through linking science, policy, and finance, we can deliver measurable benefits for people and ecosystems. Legally binding restoration laws in Europe, regional frameworks across ASEAN and the Middle East, and blue carbon initiatives worldwide all point to a shared direction. Nature-based solutions are now part of a core national infrastructure planning. The path forward is very clear. We need to develop towards knowledge societies, expand financing, strengthen monitoring and verification, and ensure that local and Indigenous communities remain central to design and decision-making. Above all, let's recognize that ecosystems are not amenities, but the infrastructure for life itself. Essential, viable, and alive. So before closing, I want to express my sincere thanks to the International Ocean Institute for hosting this continuing professional development session, to Cosmin and the organizing team for their warm invitation. Also grateful to the Early Career Ocean Professionals Program, the UN Ocean Decade, for their ongoing supporting, connecting emerging leaders, sharing knowledge, and advancing our collective vision for a healthy, resilient ocean. So thank you for your time, your work, and your commitment to making nature-based solutions central to ocean and climate governance. And this is my reference list for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joseph. That was an excellent overview of the very comprehensive global landscape of nature-based solutions and actions, and basically how we integrate them into ocean and climate governance. I really hope, and you've touched on this twice, I really hope people ask you a bit more about the greenwashing and the blue washing aspects. And if attendees don't ask you, I will ask you. So yes, thank you so much. And basically, to build on these concepts, we'll now move from the global framework to a very concrete example in the Mediterranean, very close to us. DIY has the headquarters in Malta, so I now have the pleasure to introduce our next speaker, which is Mr. Alessio Marone, who holds a master's degree in marine biology from the University of Palermo and serves as a research support officer with the Department of Geosciences, Faculty of Science at the University of Malta. He is currently pursuing his PhD under the supervision of Professor Alan Deydun, focusing on marine habitat restoration and monitoring in Maltese coastal waters. Alessio is directly involved in the Posidonia oceanica reforestation initiatives here in Malta and in other places in the Mediterranean, and he contributes directly to the fieldwork, scientific monitoring, and public engagement on numerous such projects in the Mediterranean. Alessio, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Cosmin. First of all, it's a great pleasure to be here and having this opportunity to share even our work and our efforts in indeed trying to protect the Mediterranean Sea and the habitats linked to it. You already gave quite a wide overview about myself, so I'll cut the chase and I will go straight to our work. Give me a second to share the screen, which I guess it's visible now. Can everybody see it, the presentation?
Yes, it's working.
Perfect. So this presentation, I will be touching three main aspects about Posidonia now and our project. So first of all, I'm going to be giving you a small overview about Posidonia and what actually is, because I guess not everybody is very confident with these plant and habitat forming species. And we will delve into the impacts humans and climate change are posing to this habitat. And then finally, we'll go have a look at the project we have developed in the past 2 years in collaboration with other entities. So first of all, Posidonia oceanica. Posidonia oceanica, as many of you might know, for those less confident, it's a seagrass. That means that it's a plant, not an algae. And like all plants, it's a very complex, well-developed organism. So having a root, a proper trunk, which is called rhizome, and leaf. Obviously, like all plants, make photosynthesis, so producing oxygen, and also all these biological activities in order to survive and reproduce. Obviously, there are plenty of research happening on Posidonia because it's a very important species for the Mediterranean. It's an habitat, so for this reason, it hosts an incredible amount of biodiversity. It's been recorded over 1,000 animal and plant species live within the meadow, on the surface of the leaf, within the roots, which will be seen soon. And like Posidonia, there are other species of seagrass in the Mediterranean, like Cimodocea nodosa, which is called indeed the lesser Neptune seagrass, because it's basically smaller. There are other species such as Zoostera, and other two which are considered alien, so they've been introduced from other environments, so non-native of the Mediterranean Sea. As you can see also from the picture, there is a very rich community of organisms, algae, living on the surface and even within the leaf of Posidonia. All organisms living on the surface called epiphytes. As you can see, these are 3 pictures. One featuring Posidonia on the left. On the right, we have the Cimodocea nodosa, so which is like a thin. And at the bottom, we have Zoostera, which is more related with estuarine habitats, so it's not very common. As we said before, Posidonia, it's a proper plant, so like all plants, produces flowers and seeds. So that's the way, the sexual way of reproduction. This event is not happening every day and not even every year, so it's usually linked to symptoms of stress, so where the plant perceives stress and therefore try to spread around his genetic heritage. Otherwise, it will just reproduce and spread by propaguli. So, like portion of the plant being plucked out can put roots on a new environment, originating a new meadow eventually. Posidonia grows all together, as we say, in a meadow, and obviously there is a very quick and fast turnover. Although it's a very slow growing species, the turnover of the leaf is quite high, mostly due to the death rate and even like to storms, currents. All these debris, litters produced by Posidonia may accumulate on the seabed on a shoreline. As you can see on the right picture, that structure composed by that Posidonia is called mat, which is also really important for the ecosystem. The rhizome, which is basically the trunk of the species, can grow horizontally, so like helping the spread of the meadow itself. As you can see in the picture, we have like a Posidonia meadow on the left-hand side, while in the middle we have like this rhizome that they are like growing towards the left, toward the sandbank, and potentially like expanding the meadow itself. The structure a meadow can assume like a plenty, and I won't go much into details because otherwise it's basically like a full course, but just to give you an overview. And this is like an actual section of a Posidonia meadow. So Posidonia meadow, we have like a big visible part which is mostly composed by the leaf and the rhizomes, but a good part of the Posidonia grows in form of rhizomes and roots below the seabed. This part of the seabed is called mat and is composed usually by root, rhizome, and sediment being trapped, forming this sort of hardish structure. This concept is very important in linkage with the restoration activities we have carried out. As you can see in the map, it's widely spread in the Mediterranean. It's an indigenous species, so you don't find it anywhere else apart in some places in Australia, and has been selected after the Messinian crisis, when the Mediterranean was insulated by the rest of the Atlantic Sea. It seems from the picture the Posidonia is literally everywhere, but in reality the surface it covers in the Mediterranean, it's about 2%, so it's like really small. This is mostly due on the fact that Posidonia, it's a plant, it needs light. So for this reason, it can grow only when the light can penetrate enough the water column. Therefore, it cannot grow much, like very deep. Like at most, it's been recorded the meadows can grow in very crystal water at most like at 50 meters deep. So usually it's on a continental shelf. As you can see, the case on Malta on the right picture, we have most of the meadow gathered in the northern part of Malta, while in the west part it's very limited. This is actually due to the conformity of the island itself, because the left-hand side of the island, it's very steep and deep. So therefore, like Posidonia can grow only in the very few meters of the coastline. While on the right side, the continental shelf is very smooth, and it grows like even far out at sea, like creating impressive meadows. Posidonia, from the point of view of ecology, it's an extremely important species. It's a keystone species, but it's a foundation species because many other species rely on them. It's an habitat forming, so like provides house and shelter for many species. It's obviously a grass. Although in Mediterranean not so many species feed on it, it also contributes in the carbon cycle. So it sequesters carbon from the water column and storing within the seabed. So fighting the climate change indeed. Therefore, like you can assume that their removal will also release a massive amount of stored carbon, which is supposedly not available for the environment. But once Posidonia dies, the mat storing a big amount of carbon might be degraded, and indeed the carbon itself gets released and in turn could go back to the atmosphere. So that's extremely important to keep in mind. This is actually a small scheme of the services Posidonia provide to the environment. So as you can imagine, produces a lot of oxygen. Bear in mind that seagrass meadows, so not only Posidonia, are the fourth biggest producers of oxygen in the world. So that's reason enough to protect them. But also, as I already mentioned, it's a spawning ground. He produced organic matter, so for the decomposers, and so on and so forth. This is an overall structure of the meadow that grows over successions. So we have like the small Cimodocea that prepares the ground for Posidonia to grow, because he needs a good substratum to actually thrive. I won't go much into the details of the carbon storage, as I already briefly mentioned. So for this reason, Posidonia has been listed as a priority habitat, deserving a full and total protection. So that's why, like, it's absolutely not allowed the removal of Posidonia. Although on daily basis, even all of us impact Posidonia. As you can see, mooring, so the simple laying of bricks for mooring reason can harm Posidonia, and anchoring. The actual result you can see on the right picture is that the meadow dies or gets like plucked out. What is remaining is only the dead mat. As you can see here, we have like the anchor impacting the meadow itself. Not only human impacts, but also alien species. The small algae you can see here, small greenish algae, that's called Caulerpa. It's an alien species which has invaded the Mediterranean Sea, and it's competing with Posidonia for space. So where Posidonia cannot survive, it gets easily replaced by Caulerpa, making it even more difficult for Posidonia itself to come back in place. Now we go into Malta in our project. Our project is called Neptune, the Seagrass Restoration Project in the Mediterranean Sea, and it was made in close collaboration with an institute, Metsi Foundation from Sardinia, in which they have greater expertise on this. The area that's been chosen, you can see in the Maltese map, is the so-called Aura Bay. It's a very sheltered place, which is literally covered in Posidonia. As you can see, the dark blue, it's basically Posidonia oceanica, but it's been highly impacted in the past decades, due mostly on anchoring. The intervention we have done are pictured in the squares, in the red squares, like in 2024 and 2025, covering an overall 330 square meters of area being transplanted with new Posidonia. How this activity worked. I would like to show you a small video, which is just about 2 minutes, just to quickly have a look. So, as everybody has seen, more or less the activity being carried out, this methodology, because there are several methodologies for the Poseidon transplantation, it's probably the lowest impact because it foresee the collection of Posidonia rhizome being naturally plucked out from the sea and be again transplanted on a dead mat, so where the leaf and Posidonia itself have already died. So trying to push them to regrow again and spread all around. These are again like a small clip of the activities, so you already have seen them. And in conclusion, I would like to thank you all for your attention. I hope I haven't been too boring. And just thank you from my side, from Professor Aladnedun, and from all the team and the partners involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alessio. That was quite a fascinating insight into seagrass restoration and how much such a, how can I say, a plant with such little distribution, just 2%, how much impact it has in the Mediterranean. It's, I think it's the epitome of saying that even the smallest species matter so much. Thank you so much for your presentation and for your video. And now we'll turn our attention from the Mediterranean to more tropical coastlines, where mangrove ecosystems are playing an equal vital role in building coastal resilience and supporting communities through nature-based solutions. And I have the pleasure to invite next Dr. Matthew Avarachen and Dr. Shreleshkrami S. They are Dr. Matthew is a senior researcher at the NTNU, the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, and he's coordinating the NORAD-founded BC5 project on climate change and coastal resources across Norway, Ghana, and Tanzania. His work spans ocean biochemical cycles, multi-stressor climate impacts, and science policy communication. He also leads the ECOP Norway node and serves on the board of the UN Ocean Decade Action Sailing for Science. Matthew is also joined by Dr. Shreleshmi S., who is a postdoctoral researcher and mangrove ecologist at CUSAT, India, with over 14 years of experience in mangrove ecology and restoration. Her research focuses on carbon dynamics, pollution, and climate adaptation through MBS, with fieldwork across both India and the Maldives. She received the Kaigali Research Award for Best Researcher in Biological Sciences. Together, with years of experience between them, they will offer a global perspective on mangroves as nature-based solutions, blending scientific insight with practical experience from tropical regions. Thank you, Matthew. And Shreleshmi, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Srilakshmi from Cochin University of Science and Technology, India, and I'm joined by Dr. Matthew from the Norwegian University of Science and Technology. And our presentation today is titled Mangroves as a Global Nature-Based Solution, Lessons from the Topics. So we will explore how mangroves play a critical role in linking science, community, and governance for blue carbon and coastal resilience. So mangroves are one of the most productive and resilient ecosystems on Earth, and they provide critical services like carbon sequestration, shoreline protection, and nursery grounds for several marine organisms. However, despite their ecological and economic importance, mangroves continue to decline globally due to human and climatic pressures. And as you can see in the figure, around 50% of the mangroves are vulnerable to critically endangered. Next slide. So the major threats to mangroves are multifaceted, including coastal development, aquaculture expansion, pollution, and sea level rise. In many regions, weak governance and fragmented policies further accelerate degradation. The combined effects of climate change and anthropogenic stress are pushing several mangrove habitats beyond their natural recovery levels. Next slide. So here we present two contrasting tropical examples, Tanzania and the Maldives. In Tanzania, large-scale land conversion and overharvesting have caused severe degradation. And in the Maldives, our studies showed widespread mangrove dieback, primarily driven by climatic changes, soil salinization, reduced flushing, and rising sea levels. And these examples illustrate how different environmental and social pressures can lead to similar ecological collapse. And as we all know, mangroves are among the most efficient carbon sinks on the planet. But when these ecosystems undergo degradation, whether from human activities or natural disturbances, the carbon that has been stored for centuries in their deep soils begin to remineralize into carbon dioxide, which is then released back to the atmosphere. Next slide. Yes, mangroves are indeed powerful carbon sinks, but their value extends far beyond carbon. And our recent studies from the Maldives revealed that a key species, that is Bruguera cylindrica, a species which is very much linked to the livelihood of local community, is experiencing large-scale dieback in basic mangrove ecosystems, sorry, in basin mangrove systems, which is a globally rare mangrove system. And this dieback coincided with a period of climate anomalies between 2019 and 21, marked by a triple La Nina event and a positive Indian Ocean dipole phase. And together, these events, that is the triple La Nina and the positive IOD, caused prolonged drought conditions while sea level rise occurred simultaneously. And these multiple events pushed the salinity levels close to the oceanic values, far exceeding the tolerance threshold of Bruguera cylindrica. And we also examined 8 trace metals in both sediments and plant tissues across the dieback and non-dieback zones to understand how climate stress affects metal bioavailability and accumulation. Interestingly, non-dieback sites showed higher metal concentrations in sediments, suggesting better sediment retention under healthy vegetation. And in contrast, dieback sites showed signs of erosion. That is, these sites showed significantly lower metal concentration when compared to non-dieback sites, and these showed signs of erosion and metal flushing, likely due to disrupted hydrodynamics. So, the Bruguera cylindrica and the dieback zones exhibited greater uptake of metals, whereas these species in healthy zones, that is, the non-dieback zones, had near or below detection levels. This indicates that stress conditions may enhance metal absorption and translocation, compounding the effects of climate stress. Overall, our findings show that climate-induced mangrove mortality not only reduces the sedimentary carbon sink capacity, but also increases metal export and toxicity risk to adjacent marine systems. Similar dieback patterns have now been observed in Australia and Brazil, reflecting the global vulnerability of mangroves to extreme climate events. Next slide. So, mangrove restoration has become a global priority, but not all efforts succeed. And the common pitfalls include planting in unsuitable sites, selection of unsuitable species, monoculture approaches, and lack of post-restoration monitoring. And restoration success depends not only on planting trees, but also on restoring hydrology, biodiversity, and the most important one is community involvement. Next slide. Coming to the socio-cultural importance of mangroves, mangroves are deeply woven into the cultural fabric of tropical communities. For example, in India, this mangrove wood or timber is widely used for construction, like for constructing boats, houses, etc. And in this mangrove, the coastal community is making coir ropes, and they are doing the retting and all in mangrove waters. And in some island communities, people cover their bodies with mangrove mud during Eid, and they are using wild boiled propagules of Bruguiera cylindrica as food. And these examples remind us that mangroves are not just ecosystems, they are living heritage. The rest of the presentations will be conducted by Matthew.
Thank you, Sri Lakshmi. Now over to looking into the policy and governance. When you start to look into the policy and governance, there has been quite some discussions on how effectively you can bring in restoration and conservation activities for mangroves. Key aspects include marine protected areas and conservation areas, limiting the activities for the human intervention, then bringing in community-driven conservation, and also idea of public-private nexus collaboration for bringing in more investments, as we already heard from, and then a model where payments can be given for ecosystem services. Similarly, the READ-style carbon schemes, which is reduction of emission from deforestation and forest degradation. Now, if you start to look at the tropical countries, the key challenges remain more or less similar. There are climate-driven changes, including sea level rise and increased salinity, as well as anthropogenic actions, including land scarcity, urban pressure, timber and firewood, weak enforcement, and illegal harvesting. And we have had quite good examples for the best practices and learning from different the communities. The key here is community-driven restoration activities and adaptive selection of appropriate species together with site, and then hydrological restoration activities where we are engaging actively to increase the coverage, then livelihood alternatives, then strengthening the policies to have a better local governance, and also participatory research whereby you bring in the local communities and coming up with better carbon financing. So the tropical nations share the very similar stresses because mangrove ecosystems are often the part and parcel of these coastal communities. So in order to come up with scalable restoration models, we need to come with a co-development strategy where you're going to unite the ecology, economy, and equity. Now, this is a restoration activity that we did in coastal region in southwest India called Kerala. The population density is fairly high, and we had planted mangrove saplings around 5 hectares of land, and we are aiming to increase it to 10 hectares in the coastal community together with the local government bodies. The idea is to sequester about 1,750 tons of carbon with a net ecosystem service value of around $250 million by 2050. Now, if you look at appropriate mangrove restoration model, it should be based on science, because you need to select the appropriate site, you need to come up with an appropriate species, and also you need to have the community interaction, and then you have to induct a community co-ownership whereby you co-create a model that is benefiting the local communities as well, and that will support in the continued monitoring and adaptive management of these unique ecosystems. And then this can very well be adopted into the local blue economies. Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. Can you see my presentation again?
Yes.
Okay. And from that, you need to look for a long-term support monitoring system. It's not just CSR, like corporate social responsibility, but you need to continue on a long-term basis. And this will ensure we will have a proper ecological design that is rooted in social inclusion and also a policy coherence. This will further enhance all the activities that we are doing for carbon restoration of the mangrove ecosystem and for its conservation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shalashmi and Dr. Matthew. Those were very insightful global overviews of mangroves. And I think you've highlighted just how vital the role is in coastal resilience and just how timely a discussion on mangroves is for our subject at hand today. Thank you very much. I will have to very, very quickly shift to our new speaker from Guatemala, Maria Schombeck, who will talk to us about community leadership, particularly women's participation, and how this is driving successful mangrove restoration. Maria is a biologist from Guatemala and a fellow of the Coastal Solutions Program. Her work focuses on coastal ecosystem conservation, climate adaptation, and community-based restoration. She leads the project Atlas y Raíces Resilientes, which empowers local communities in mangrove rehabilitation and environmental governance across Guatemala's Pacific coast. Thank you, Maria, for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I'm just going to share my screen. And if you can tell me if it's looking, if it's sharing now?
Yeah, looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, hi everyone. I am very happy to be here and share with you some of our experience implementing this community-led mangrove restoration initiative in the Pacific coast of Guatemala. And this is also a part of a bigger project called Alas y Raíces Resilientes, which is supported by the Coastal Solution Program, that is part of the Cornell Lab and the Centro de Estudios Conservacionistas Guatemala and Fundaeco. So for this, I want to tell you a little bit more of the areas that we have been focusing and working. So the area is called Monterrico and is located in the Pacific coast of Guatemala and is part of the second largest mangrove mass of the country. It's also a multiple use area. And as you can see on the map, the dark green is the mangroves, and also because it's a multiple use area, there are communities established in the area, and you can recognize them by the red color along the coast in the map. And also this area is co-administrated by the Centro de Estudios Conservacionistas, which is part of the university, which means that is administrated by academy. But unluckily, this area has been facing different challenges along the last decade. So it can be related to land use change, illegal deforestation, and another economic activities as unregulated tourism and also agriculture expansion. And now you can see on the map, there is only one example comparing 2003 on the left and 2010 on the right. And you can see on the dark red the expansion of the agriculture industry. And with that, also I want to highlight that we have been facing also hydrological dynamics. And this is also due to the land use change upstream that has been causing sedimentation and hydrological isolation. So this is also one example during the same year, last year. And in the dry season, you can see there is almost not left superficial water in the mangrove area, and compare next month after in the rainy season, you can hardly see some of the mangroves. They are all flooded by the water, and it was 2 meters on the time of the tip of the picture. So we measured the water column, and this is also due the because in the rain season, like a lot of water that has been retained for the agroforest industry upstream has been taken back to the natural system, plus the heavy rainfall are causing flooding and leading mangrove mortality, and also the efforts that has been done for other organizations has been failed because of the mangrove cannot survive with these floodings. And for all of this, we have been creating this initiative. So we have been working and implementing native-based solutions, combining hydrological rehabilitation, also reforestation, but also our main goal with this is to reestablish natural water flows. And with this, we have identified 3 important or prioritized areas that you can see on the map on the left in the red circles. But also we have selected these areas because there was some efforts before from part of the government, and we wanted to keep going during the time with these previous efforts. So for this, we have worked in 100 hectares of degraded mangroves with the communities, and through channel reopening, sediment removal, and reforestation. So our approach, as I mentioned, after we identified this area, 1 year before doing all the efforts with the community, we were monthly by month in 1 year measuring the superficial water to see all the dynamics of how the water flows was changing during the time. And also we were reforesting mangroves, involving the local communities in the whole process. And now we are through the monitoring and evaluation after all of this. And with the community participation and training, we have trained and hired local people during the whole process. And for this, we have worked with the different 6 communities in the area. And also with them, 35% of them has been women and 64% were men. And you can see in the pictures, they were participating in the workshops, and the women were taking their kids also to be able to join the workshops. And here there are some pictures, and as an example, how they were working in the channel reopening and sedimentation removal. So first we identified the areas, and after teams were working on these areas. So they were mixed groups integrated by men and women. And after that, you can see how was all the work done by them. And beside all of these technical achievements that we have done, this project has become very transformative and important for us, because the women not were only participating in this whole process, but they were also leading a lot of the activities. They were organizing, coordinating logistics, also keeping everyone connected during the whole process, and building mutual trust and solidarity. There were some women that were participating since the beginning of the project, and at the end there were more women curious and wanted to join the effort. So the women who were already know the whole process, were teaching to the new ones. So they were like exchanges the whole knowledge and also empowering them women by women. So that was very important and value for us. Also, a lot of social impacts. The women were describing these activities and efforts as rewarding, empowering, and confidence building. For many of them, there was like the very first time going there to work. So many of them were like very amazed and surprising, like, wow, women also belong to the mangroves. And working on the mangroves were making feel them proud of their all work. And also they were saying that for the first time they did a job that was always considered for them that it was only a work for men. And also there was like old ladies who were working on this, and they were saying that they were really happy that they are in an advanced age and also can contribute to the conservation. And also for this, in the governance and climate adaptation, it was very important too, because the woman gained restoration skills, fostered a culture of care and stewardship. They were also claiming to improve the surveillance in the area to prevent illegal deforestation, because they were like putting so much effort in the reforestation and the opening channels. So they were really taking care of that mangroves that they were putting. All of this effort was like lasting in the time and in the years, and also inspiring their families and futures. A lot of these women also were taking their kids into the reforested areas, showing their kids and family what they have been working on, and making them feel like very proud, and also telling their families the importance of the conservation of these areas. So I want to say that this was a big effort from the whole team of Alas y Raíces, where the whole team is conformed with women as well, and the whole community, the rangers, and the all organization that has been supporting the project. And also I want to finish with this picture that is from one song of the women who were participating, because she was teaching him what was the best seeds to select for the mangrove reforestation. And also that they were saying is that they were restoring something that will remain for their children. So I leave here also my email and our social media if you want to reach out and collaborate.
Thank you so much, Maria. That was a very inspiring presentation. You've dealt with community-led restoration, and I think you've highlighted just how much this factors into the empowerment of women and mangrove governments. Thank you so much for joining us today. And from Guatemala, now we move to Kenya, where youth leadership and innovation are at the forefront of coastal restoration. And I am delighted to welcome Melena Bisa from U4Nature to share her experience. Melen is a global ambassador at U4Nature and is a Kenyan environmentalist dedicated to promoting the sustainable use of land and forest resources while empowering local communities through conservation and restoration. She holds a bachelor's degree in project planning and management, and she has a strong background in research, monitoring, and evaluation. She co-leads a number of projects, such as the Inuka Africa project, which is a youth-led nature-based solution initiative working across mangroves, wetlands, and arid lands in Kenya. So I am going to present in her stead in just 1 second. And Melanie, you can switch on your webcam as well. Okay.
Okay. Hello everyone. It's so nice to be here and to like gather this knowledge and information from all the lovely speakers we've just shared. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we're hearing you.
Okay, thank you. So from Youth for Nature and a global ambassador leading a project called Inuka. And this project focuses on NBS, nature-based solutions, and restoring different ecosystems. And next slide. Just briefly to give details on how we came about this project is that as Youth for Nature, we've been working on NBS policies, and we were able to work with UNGO and Global Youth Biodiversity Network to share a youth position statement on NBS, giving views on how youth are affected or how youth are not more included into nature-based solutions. And so after presenting our statement, as Youth for Nature, we decided to do now local action in the ground by working with communities. Hence, we came up with Inuka. Next slide. And this is a project that is intended to investing in African youth who are working on ecosystem restorations in different regions. And through spatial analysis, we were able to identify that mangroves are a major ecosystem that are degrading within Kenya. Next slide. And through this, we've seen that we were able to notice that Chuda Creek in Mombasa is facing a lot of land degradation. And it was so bad that the sea, the area next to the mangroves had like become so barren, and children would even now start playing football on these areas. So we would see the extent of like anthropogenic activities that has happened within the Chuda Creek area. And we also saw that deforestation is rising because of the need of charcoal. And now human settlements were even now moving closer into the sea. So through this, we identify that restoring mangroves is key. And next slide. And with this, we've been able to work with a youth group called Big Ship. And Big Ship is a community-based organization that is working on restoring the coastal creek along Chuda Creek by planting mangroves and also setting up nurseries to be able to, empower the communities, and by working with them to also help in managing these nurseries, because we realize that it is key to work with communities, and bringing them to these initiatives creates more ownership, and there is a more buy-in into implementing successful projects of mangrove restoration. Next slide. So our focus area is the Mikindani Bay, and the vision is to build resilient coastal communities and to ensure that communities are in harmony with the mangroves. They understand the importance of mangroves within their communities, and they're able to protect them. As much as we want to also protect the mangroves, we also have to find an alternative solution for them so that they can be able to continue doing the restoration and also monitoring of these mangroves. So we've so far been able to plant 5,000 mangroves of 3 species, which are best growing in the Chuda Creek. Although Kenya has 5 mangrove species that do well, only these 3, the Rhizophora, Cereops, and Avicennia, are the ones that are doing well along the Chuda Creek, and also involving communities and like the beach management unit, the other traditional, coastal communities who depend on these the ocean on things like fish, crabs, which is mostly a delicacy for the people living along the coast. And also, how do we enhance monitoring by ensuring, we are tracking the survival rate of these mangroves. And we also notice like in which zones do these specific species thrive on. If it is towards the shores, we know it is the Avicennia marina that is usually doing well. And if it is deep inside the ocean, we know it is like the Rhizophora that does well because it has deeper roots and it grows much more larger. And we also ensure that we have knowledge exchange practices, because there are different communities living along the coast, the creek. So how do we ensure that these different communities are working together, because the creek is not owned by anyone, it is owned by the community. And so how do we borrow ideas from each community? How are we able to interact and share best practices, on how they're growing their seedlings, how they're taking care of them, how they're doing their planting, the frequency of also doing this planting, the spaces in doing the planting of the mangroves is also important. So we need to understand what is working in this community, and if it is not working for us, then how do we adapt new best practices that will ensure that the survival rate of these mangroves is going on well, and that we are all working on the ensuring that we are stewards of mangrove restoration within the Chivu Creek. Next. So here is an example of images showing the different mangrove species that are famously, thriving within the Chivu Creek. And we also have their local names, which are also there. And this is based on the red mangroves, which is the rhizophora. It is red. We call them the red mangroves because of the roots, which are usually red. And then we also have the white and the yellow mangroves because of the color of the leaves. And we also do this restoration through a program called Adopt a Site program, whereby we encourage different stakeholders, schools, institutions to come and adopt a site when they are trying to, maybe do their CSR. So as they adopt a site, be it an acre, be it half an acre, we ensure that as they plant these mangroves, they're also accountable to ensure that they follow up in monitoring the survival rate of the mangroves, coming and see, what has happened, how the land was bare before, and how these mangroves have been able to grow and also benefiting the communities. So we are also able to share success stories through the Adopt a Site program. Next. And so far we've been able to train 50 plus youth on mangrove ecosystem, and this we did it through the NBS curriculum, which was guided by IUCN. And we've also enhanced their skills on understanding what is NBS in mangrove restoration, because we have the standard criteria for NBS. So is this project scalable? Is it of any, is it contributing more to biodiversity within the creek? And so what other advantages, like, are there sources of livelihood also through mangrove restoration? And some of these projects include apiculture, whereby we set up beehives to ensure we set up the beehives, which is also a form of protection for the mangroves, because no one will go into the mangroves to cut them down if they see a beehive that's scared of the bees. So as we also protect the mangroves, they're also trying to earn a living, and actually it is certified that mangrove honey is more nutritious, unlike honey from the terrestrial trees, because of the flowers and a bit of the salinity content of the ocean and the flowers. And so we've also seen youth gaining skills in GIS, tracking the growth of the mangroves, and also just understanding that they can take drones pictures to show how far the land has been regenerated through restoration of the mangroves. And by also sharing impact stories, youth who are not even aware about mangroves. You know, there's some people who are living next to the shore, but they have never even reached the mangrove sites or the mangrove areas to see what is protecting them. And so that is a big plus to ensuring there is local stewardship in youth to actually do restoration and care about mangroves, and like, you know, just being ignorant that, you know, they will take care of themselves. So in aspects of the local governance and collaboration, we work with the Kenya Forest Service, who are also in like control and patrolling the mangrove forest. We work with the local beach management units and also the county government of Mombasa, and to ensure that we spread awareness. If it was World Mangrove Day, you know, we will set up an event to create awareness and invite community to come actually participate in planting and understanding why we are doing this, and just being more knowledgeable and being more understanding to like the the great the great impact that mangroves have within our communities, because we see that if there are no mangroves, you know, there won't be fishing grounds, there won't be livelihood aspects, and this creates like a ripple effect within the community. If there's no livelihood aspects, children won't be able to go to school. If they won't be able to go to school, education level goes down. So it just shows how mangrove restoration ties into community, you know, strength and resilience. And then we've also learned that, you know, local governance enhance the legitimacy of the project and also ensure that we have more resource mobilization. Because when you work together, we see now different partners coming in to also contribute into these restoration efforts, be it the private sector or even other institutions. Next slide.
Melin,
And
we are very low on time, unfortunately.
okay, the last.
We have, would you be able to summarize in 2 minutes?
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
And yeah, so some of the policies that we have tied the mangrove restoration is our Kenyan NDCs and also the National Mangrove Ecosystem Management, which was adopted in 2017 to 2027. And so we have also been able to, you know, create a policy brief showing the success of mangrove restoration within our communities and the impact that it has made for the communities and also for the ecosystem. And so we hope like to scale this project to other regions because the creek is so long, and that is just a segment that we are working on. So as we scale up, we aim to invite and incorporate more communities into mangrove restoration. Next slide. And yeah, so social impacts through restoration, we've seen community resilience and also income generating activities. And for the ecological impacts, we've seen more fishing grounds, you know, and also more awareness of people into like doing more of the restoration work. And so we see some of the lessons also, we see that there is need for intergenerational mentorship. You know, as youth, we are trying to do this restoration, but also how can we gain more insight to ensure that our restoration is scalable and also impactful, you know, in a longer time. So yeah, I think I'll stop there. My next slide. Yeah, thank you for listening, and sorry for the time.
Thank you so much, Melin. That was a very informative presentation. I think I'm hoping you inspired everyone as much as you inspired me with your points about youth-driven initiatives and how people can take concrete steps to transforming coastal resilience for the better, especially with the case study you offered us from Kenya. And with that being said, we'll now travel to the east a little bit, to India, where community engagement and trust building have been central to successful mangrove restoration. I'm very pleased to welcome Sagar Alaktoya from Terry Policy Center to share his experience. Sagar holds a bachelor degree in mechanical engineering and a master's in business administration. He has over 8 years experience at the Terra Policy Center, and he has implemented projects on environmental protection, conservation, and awareness. Thank you so much, Sagar, for being with us today. And please go ahead and share your screen.
Thank you, Cosmin, for giving this opportunity and showcasing our work. I'm Sagar Lakutia, working in a in an NGO called Tear Policy Center. Tear Policy Center, founded by Dr. Vinita Apte. She's our founder director, and we are working under her guidance and supports for all the projects. Different projects like afforestation, community development, watershed development, environment awareness, coastal community, coastal resilience, community development, and many more projects. Is my screen is visible?
No, not yet.
Now it is visible?
Yes, just you need to put it in presenter view, but we're seeing it perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, TER Policy Center stand for Technology, Education, Research and Rehabilitation for Environment, and we are working in different aspects for protection and conservation of the environment. One of our project is mangroves restoration in Maharashtra and near Puliket in Chennai. So I just share about our experience and what are the things we are doing in our mangroves restoration. Firstly, we start identification of the sites where degraded land is, and then we are started interacting with community, local government for identification of the land and getting the permissions for restoration and all things. Then while doing the interaction with the community and local government agency and different peoples, we come to know there is lots of lands where we can restore the mangroves. This degraded land means mangroves is degraded because of the human interaction for fishings or transport of the way big ships. So we need to restore. There is a lots of scope to restore the mangroves along the coast side of Maharashtra in near Pen, Alibag. When we interacting with the community, we come to know there is a lots of means lack of awareness among the community that many people are not welcoming for restoration of the mangroves, as they think there are many issues with the mangroves restoration, like if the mangroves sits come in their farmland, the land will goes to the government. If the mangroves go near coastline, then they're in uh, travel, like going for a shippings and all that will block, or the biodiversity ships for, near the roots of the mangroves will get injured, and their selling price will drop. There are many things, so we come to conclusion that first we have to create a awareness about the mangroves, how its importance, how the community needs to come together to restore the mangroves. So we before doing the actual work for restoration, we started the program for creating awareness. Then we come to know that there are many women in the villages that they don't have any other works than household works or helping their husband for fishing and all. As these places are remotely located, there is no much development in the area, so women don't have much opportunity to generate livelihood. As well as the livelihood of this all household are only depending on shipping or some part small amount of the farmland they have, but that is also affected by the increasing the sea level and all. So considering all these things, we come to one conclusion that we can give this livelihood opportunity to the local community, in which we run a program where this we adopted 3-4 villages. From these villages, these women go to the sea. They collect the saplings from the sea, and they can raise this sapling at their backyard. So as earlier stage, there are many saplings. They are naturally grow. We all know mangroves grow naturally. If there is no human interaction, then there is no need to restore it. But as there is a human interaction, this mangroves, a small sapling, doesn't grow much. So this woman collect this all sapling. They grow there at their backyard, and after they grow 4 to 5 feet height. We purchase the sapling from this woman, so they can generate the income. As these places are remotely located, they have lots of space where they can grow this all the mangroves. Also, there is a lots of amount of water or soil, whatever they require for the growing the saplings, and they can collect in a month of September or October, and next September or October, after 1 year, when the sapling grows around 4 to 5 feet height, we restore them in the sea with the help of this community. So that will help the generate the livelihood for the local community, as they don't have much income. So they are more convinced for their means whatever the misunderstanding or lack of awareness about the mangroves, that part little bit suppressed due to livelihood opportunity we have created for them. They are generating income, lots of income from the growing these saplings at their backyard. They have one works to do. Also we are restoring this mangrove sapling with the help of them, so that will also generate the income for their family people. So lots of people coming to us and helping for the similar kind of projects. So after the sapling goes 4 to 5 feet height, we purchase them and identify one place where we can restore them. Then we can protect it with the fence, at the right top corner you can see the long sticks in the sea, so ships and all don't cross that boundary, and they don't damage the small saplings of the mangroves, and they can grow faster. So all these efforts and all, we try to convince them that the mangroves restoration also helpful for them, and it is also generating lots of income for the local community. Around 3 to 4 villages we are working, and now the nearby villages which are not initially agreed to restore the mangroves in their areas or work with us for the restoration. Now after seeing the results from these 4 to 5 villages, they are also coming to us for doing the same activity in their areas. And as this awareness increases, they are also not willing to cut the trees. As the trees drop the seedlings and a small sapling grows, that they can collect it and again sell to us. So that awareness is also created, and that it is also stopping them for harming the old mangroves or big saplings or whatever in the area they have. This is also similar kind of projects we have implemented in Pulicat near Chennai, where also we have planted 20,000 saplings from last 2 years with the support of CSR activity of Tata Autocom system. And in Maharashtra, we have planted this with the support of Global Nature Fund. We have planted around 60,000 mangrove sapling in last 3 years. While communicating and interacting with the local community, we come to know that there is an also issue of the electricity. As these places are remotely located and far away from the cities, so they have a issue with the electricity in heavy rain time or in summertime where the lack of electricity or load shedding. So we have distributed the solar system for every household, so they can solve the electricity, and it will be also means increase the interaction with the community, creating the one good image and what are the benefits they can get with the mangrove restoration. It is one step, and it can be solve their electricity issue, as these places are remotely located, but they are in night. If there is no electricity, there are many harmful for these people while going around. So we have distributed solar system to 3 villages in many household. In some household, there is not possibility of installing, or there is some issue with this household system. So we have created one solar center where in a community land we have installed one big solar system and uh, keep the sockets for charging. So they where the community they don't have to possible to install the solar system their home, they can bring their devices and charge at the community center and use it. Thank you. If anyone have any questions.
Thank you very much, Sagar. An excellent presentation, and I think you brought to the forefront just how important it is to have community trust, to build awareness, and to use innovation, similar to what you showed us about the solar energy initiatives. Thank you. And with that, we open the floor to questions. Unfortunately, we have very, very little time for Q&A. I take just one moment to thank all our speakers today. You brought tremendous case studies to the forefront. You've dealt very well with the team. I think we dealt with multiple perspectives. Thank you. Thank you so much. If any of our participants today want to ask a question, please raise your hand and I will enable video and microphones for you. In the meantime, I've noticed some questions in the Q&A section. So they were, yes? Okay, just 1 second. So, I think the first question was this one. Was there any estimation of bioaccumulation, heavy metal residual content in mangrove trees or root-associated sediment? This question was for Dr. Sharashkrami. If you're still with us, you may answer this question. Or Dr. Matthew, just 1 second, because I'm not seeing the list. Yes.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
No worries, I will repeat. Basically, it was about an estimation of bioaccumulation of heavy metal residual content in mangrove trees or root-associated sediment.
Heavy metal accumulation. Yeah, it was, we estimated the heavy metal both in the sediment as well as in the tissues, that is the root and leaf tissues. And it was found that the metal accumulation was higher in non-dieback zone, that is in the healthy mangrove sand, when compared to the dieback zones, and it was significantly higher in the non-dieback zones. And when we look into the tissues, the dieback, the plants, the Bruguera cylindrica species, which was found in the dieback zones, exhibit higher uptake when compared to the non-dieback zone Bruguera species.
Thank you.
It might be It might be due to
That's,
the stress response, no?
Perfect, thank you. I think what we will do next, considering the very, very few minutes we have left, I would like to invite our speakers just to give us one very short golden comment, golden statement before we wrap up. Joseph, I don't know if you want to go first. Just a very, very short statement for our audience to take with them in their jobs, in their work, in their life.
Oh, wasn't expecting that. I guess nature-based solutions are the future. The future is regenerative. I think we need to move towards knowledge societies and share our educational experiences and scientific developments with each other, you know, for collaboration and being able to develop these nature-based solutions to have an effective positive impact around the world in mitigating climate change and building resilience and supporting local communities and all of this kind of thing. And I'm sure you're all doing that, so it's really good. And thanks for joining. Okay.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Unfortunately, Alessio had to leave us. So please, Matthew and Dr. Shalashami, if you have any golden statement, please go ahead.
Yeah, maybe an equitable, co-developed, collaborative effort that is backed by appropriate financial system for conservation and the restoration of mangrove ecosystems is very much in need for a nature-based solution for climate change. Thank you.
Yep.
So mangroves are a global nature-based solution connecting climate action, biodiversity protection, and social resilience. And by integrating science, policy, and local knowledge, we can restore these ecosystems for our future generations. Thank you all for your attention. And thank you, Cosmin and IOA, for this golden opportunity to share our work.
Wonderful. And thank you. I saw you have a very young researcher with you. It's very good that they start early.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you. Here, we will make a diploma for him, the youngest researcher on our seminar.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Maria, would you like to add the closing statement?
Yes, thank you so much. I would like to highlight also that nature-based solution is really important to enhance the resilience for the ecosystems, but it's also very important during this process to make this nature-based solution inclusive, different the whole stage of the ages from the family, and also include from the very young and to learn from the earliest stage in their lives to their future and conserving for the future generations also.
Thank you so much. Yes, future generations should be at the top of the priorities for us. Milan, would you like to go next?
Okay. Yeah. I think I would say nature-based solutions are at the center of people. So we need to work with, we need to work with nature, because nature-based solutions are more of like approaches of working with nature and nature not working for us in a way. We have to coexist together. So by embracing nature-based solutions, we can transform our communities, we can transform our livelihoods, and also regain more of the lost biodiversity. Yeah.
Thank you. Sagar?
I think if we have to do the great impact and in a faster rate, we have to think about the livelihood generated opportunity around the coastline. There are many communities, many opportunities they have, but they don't know how to implement it, how to exaggerate it. If we create this opportunity about with our motto of restoration, then I think we can do with the fast restoration with the faster rate. If the community get income, they get livelihood in better way, in faster way, the restoration will be at a faster way. There are many ways of doing it, like agrotourism, restoration, nurseries, or there are many byproducts of the mangroves or coastline that we can do.
Thank you so much, Sagar. Thank you, everyone who was here with us today. There will be, I already saw the question in the chat, there will be a recording, and I shared with you the page where that recording will be posted. And as well, I just shared with you the link tree of the IOI, where you can learn more about the programs and the projects that the IOI does. We have a newsletter for which you can subscribe. There will be a Q4 webinar as well, sometime in December, I think the 2nd of December. So go ahead and follow us. We have an equally interesting topic for December as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today, and looking forward to see you at the future IOI events. I wish you all a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening. I know we kept some of you awake. I know we woke up some people, but it was amazing having you with us. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Cosmin.
Thank you, Cosmin.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.